Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the DRL DraftKings pre-flight show. I'm Rory McKernan, and on today's show, we're going to get you ready for live action next on NBC, Twitter, or Facebook. On today's show, Tony Niddle will join us to get us caught up on the 2020 DRL Allianz World Championship season so far and what to watch for in Level 14. DraftKings is now the official sports betting partner for DRL, and DRL is the first sport in the air that you can bet on. We'll get you primed on how to get some skin in the game on DraftKings. The sky is now the limit. Last but not least, DRL pilots Fluxy and Amari will give us insights from the cockpit for level for number 14. Get in on the DRL action on DraftKings. The DRL DraftKings pre-flight show starts now. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the DRL DraftKings pre-flight show. I'm Rory McKernan, and we're just moments away from live DRL action on NBC, Twitter, and Facebook, where the top 12 DRL pilots in the world will take on Level 14, the U.S. Air Force Boneyard. Now, before we bring on Tony Niddle and preview the action, let's get you caught up on the season so far. 2020, the pandemic, it's created some changes to the DRL season, as you can imagine. First, we are competing completely virtually on the DRL SIM. Second, the season structure has evolved, leading to the most exciting racing to date. The season consists of 16 levels of racing, each on a unique map in the DRL SIM game. The pilots earn season points based on their overall level finish. The pilot with the most points after 16 levels is the 2020 DRL Allianz World Champion. Each level follows a bracket structure. The bottom 6 pilots from the qualifiers race in semifinal 1. The top 3 advance to semifinal 2, where they meet pilots 4 through 6 from the qualifiers. Those top 3 then advance to the finals, where they meet the 3 best from qualifying. The winner of the Golden Heat in the finals will be your level champion. The level of competition continues to improve year over year. 2020 is no exception. Here's what the standings look like after 13 levels. Gab 707 is the gritty veteran from Canada. He sits in 6th place just behind Sky. The battle for the podium is between Nub and Miwo, with Nub out of Tennessee pulling away, when Amari sitting in 2nd place, making a run at the top spot on the overall standings. Joining us now to make sense of it all is the top analyst from the DRL, Tony Niddle. TK, thank you for joining us.
Hey, Ro, thanks for having me.
Hey, I mentioned it, but we spent a lot of time talking about rookies. They're leading the way this year. One of them who jumps out and grabs me is Amari. Who is this guy?
This guy's incredible, Roy. 25-year-old from Waukee, Iowa, joined the DRL by winning his spot in the 2020 DRL SIM tryouts. He beat out 2,000-plus competitors to get here, so that itself is pretty amazing. Then on top of that, he jumped into the DRL SIM Cup that we had earlier this season and dominated again, taking out everyone in his way.
Well, from the couch where a YouTube thumbnail caught his eye to the cockpit where he has proved himself worthy of competing in the sport's biggest stage, Amari's journey has been compelling to watch.
I knew that I wanted to be a professional drone racer when I saw my first episode of the Drone Racing League. I had to be a part of it. I immediately started researching how to build a drone, where the local races were that were happening around me. I had a gate set up before I had even made my first drone because I knew I wanted to race. That's where the fun of it, I knew, for me would be. And I was super right. Awesome decision.
When he won the 2020 tryouts, just seeing the overwhelming joy on his face was amazing.
I had achieved my dream. I was on the DRL, something that I had worked 3.5, 4 years for.
He does work extremely hard to get where he wants to be and reach those goals that he has. I'm excited to see what's going to be next.
I am going to be the first sim pilot to win a season of DRL.
Amari's journey has been so fun to watch, as has been his campaign for the top spot in the overall standings. But behind that race for first place, there's a race for the final spot on the podium, TK. That's between Nub and Miwo. Nub with 123 points, Miwo with 103 points. There's only 3 levels left, so how does this one play out?
Well, if you only have a 20-point spread between the 2 and 3 to go, Miwo does have a solid chance to move into that position, but he's got to be banking on Nub making some uncharacteristic mistakes. And on the track coming up, I'm not so sure that might happen.
Okay, zoom in on that. Let's talk about this U.S. Air Force Boneyard. Who's going to do better?
Well, that's an interesting question because this track kind of favors the both of them. They both like the opportunities to have your own line within a race course and then bring it in for the technical sections and then go back to your own race line. Well, with this track being kind of opened up, it really favors the both of them. However, I think if I had to pick one, I'm going to say Nub on this one. It seems to be that this track might be something right in his wheelhouse.
All right, probably not so much for the pilots, but for fans, these tight races are so fun to watch. TK, thank you for your insights. Unfortunately, I've got to let you go for now. I'm hoping you can come back in just a few minutes to preview Level 14. When we come back, our friends at DraftKings will let you guys at home know how you can get in on the DRL action through DraftKings. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the DRL DraftKings pre-flight show. DRL is the premier global professional drone racing property, and we're heading toward a live start where our pilots will take on the U.S. Air Force Boneyard. One of the exciting changes that 2020 has brought is the opportunity to get some skin in the DRL game on DraftKings. Emerson Latzia and DraftKings Director of Race and Sportsbook Operations Johnny Avello are here to tell you more.
What's up, guys? Emerson Latzia here, and I am joined now by DraftKings Director of Race and Sportsbook Operations, Johnny Avello, here to discuss an exciting new offering on the DraftKings Sportsbook. So we brought you a ton of new sports over the last few months, and we continue to do that now with a free-to-play pool for the Drone Racing League. So, Johnny, before we get into the details of that pool here, what exactly are free-to-play pools on DraftKings?
Well, free-to-play pools are pools where we at DraftKings seek out popular events and put up propositions on those events. We put up all the cash, and by logging and registering on our site, anyone from anywhere can play in these free pools. There's two key words there, Emerson: free and anywhere. Free is free, and anywhere can be a place where sports wagering hasn't even been approved yet.
Oh, that's excellent. So how do you do this? How do you actually play it if people want to get in on this?
Well, first you log into sportsbook.draftkings.com/pools. I'll repeat it again.
One more time.
Sportsbook.draftkings.com/pools. And you click on any of the pools that are offered. You'll then be directed to sign in or sign up for an account. And once that's completed, you start playing the pool or pools at your choice and the propositions we've created.
All right, pools is plural, meaning more than one. So what kind of pools does DK have to offer right now?
Well, we've done them on everything from political debates, the presidential election, horse racing, Survivor, Real Housewives, and a slew of sporting events.
I love it.
They change quite frequently, but currently we're offering the Bachelorette, Wild Weather, which is selecting an over-under on temperatures in various cities, plus Andbox and the Drone Racing League.
Yeah, my wife loves the reality television side. I'm going to be super into this Drone Racing League. So how does this pool work?
Well, drone racing is a competition where the pilots control the drones and it streams to live videos. The goal is to compete in the race courses ahead of the other pilots and win in diverse heats. We have propositions pertaining to those heats together with challenges that happen during the stream of the race, such as sudden death or pilots making it to the finals.
I love it, man. This is thrilling. This is exciting stuff, man. Johnny Avello, appreciate your time. Thanks for breaking it all down for us. And fans, all of you guys watching right now can participate in the free-to-play DRL pool by downloading DraftKings Sportsbook, Casino, and Daily Fantasy products via iOS and Android.
Remember, folks, you too can bet on DRL on DraftKings and play free in a drone racing league pool for your share of $1,000. Download any of the DraftKings apps and use the promo code DRL when you sign up to get in on the action. When we come back, pilots Fluxy and Amari will stop by to give us their thoughts on Level 14. Don't go away.
Favorite part about the DRL SIM is really just being able to get to put in those hours without fixing any gear or charging batteries. You just get to go.
If you crash, you just hit the restart button and you're good to go.
I can plan out, a 5-hour, 6-hour time slot for me to go out and train. In real life, if I plan that same thing, I may only be out there for an hour because I broke everything I own. It doesn't cost me anything to run the sim. Once you get it, you're good and you can keep running for as long as you want.
The DRL SIM is really accurate, and I think that's what I really love about it. There's a lot of modeling that's been done on, quadcopter aerodynamics, and those are really hard. And DRL has put in some of the best algorithms to represent that, and this makes something that's, really accurate for us to train on.
It's crazy how accurate it really feels, and that's with the Racer 4. I have my own personal freestyle rig set up as well. I can go out and fly that, and it feels just the same as normal real life.
My favorite aspect of the DRL SIM, the way that the leaderboard is kind of like integrated. I mean, you're thinking about it constantly. You get to see your times, your placement. It really pushes you. It's global. I mean, you're racing against the world, so you're number one on there. It's a pretty big mark.
So my favorite aspect of the DRL SIM is kind of the ability to make tracks that you would never have in a real life scenario. So things like on the drone park, it's completely 3D. It's impossible to fly those tracks in real life, and kind of the ability to really see what a drone can do. And sometimes you don't know whether you're upside down, right side up, and things like that. It's kind of completely different to what you can fly in real life. That's kind of one of the main positives for me.
You can just sit down whenever and start practicing. Like, it doesn't matter what time of day it is, and it doesn't matter what time of the year it is. I know I can always sit down at my computer and have time to practice.
No matter what is going on in the outside world, we can still practice and we can still get in and do what we love to do and not have to worry about what's going on outside. If it's raining, if it's snowing outside, if there's a pandemic going on, we can still do what we need to do right from home.
This is DRL, the Drone Racing League.
Welcome back to the DRL DraftKings pre-flight show. DRL is the premier global professional drone racing property, and we're getting you caught up on all the action from last event's doubleheader. Right now, we've got pilots Fluxy and Amari to help us out. Guys, thank you both for joining us.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
All right, we just got through a doubleheader, levels 12 and 13. I'm going to start with you, Amari. Generally, how'd it go for you?
Man, it was levels 12 and 13 were definitely a roller coaster for me. Level 12 was by far my worst performance. It was the first time I had ever not qualified through to the finals. I just was not vibing with that track at all. And I definitely showed in my level of confidence in racing. And then on the other hand, we had level 13, Ohio. And I love that. Like, from the second we started qualifying on that, it was a night and day difference. And I had so much more confidence to go fast on that track.
Yeah, love it. And that's not easy to do in a doubleheader where you've got to kind of collect yourself from one and get back into the next.
Yep.
All right, Fluxy, I'm going to go with you, and I want to dive directly into level 12. Tell me how you placed, how well you felt about your performance, and what you liked and didn't like.
Yeah, I was feeling a lot better. I was feeling a lot better about my performance in level 12 than some of the previous levels. I'm still making small mistakes. It hurts really bad being like so close to glory, and just one little tiny clip takes you out of it. But I think if I can clean up all the little tiny little hiccups here and there, I should be able to sit on the podium a couple more times.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Well, if you guys remember, before level 12, we asked you to take a shot at some of our DraftKings free-to-play pool questions. So we got to go back and see how you actually did. The first of those questions was, Will any pilot win a heat by more than 2 seconds? You both answered yes. Let's recap why you thought that then and what you say now. Amari, go for it.
So my thought process behind that was that's quite the feat. 2 seconds in a 60 to 62 second race. That's pretty big, especially for the talent pool that we have here on DRL. And I thought that it could happen at least once, because that's all it would take, because it happened once. And I thought if it was going to happen anywhere, then the consistency would be lacking in semifinal 1, where some of the pilots who are struggling with the course can come along. And if one person has one really good heat and everyone else kind of has like a struggle, it could definitely happen.
All right, well, 38% of people did get it right, and lucky for you, we're just, this is just for fun, right?
Yeah.
You guys don't actually get to gamble on it. Flexi, talk me through your thought process and why you answered.
Yeah, I was the same way. I thought that historically in the last few levels, the finishes have been very close, and I think it was kind of a curveball for us. A couple of sections in both of these tracks kind of brought out a lot more mistakes than we were seeing in a lot of the previous levels. It shook things up. Specifically that tunnel with those 3 triangles in it. Everyone was trying to take a straight line through there, and taking the straight line is a little dangerous, going in that tiny little crack of those triangles. So we saw a lot of fun mistakes in that hallway.
Big risk, big reward sometimes.
Exactly.
Let's move on to question number 2, which was, what is the highest number of consecutive heats a pilot will win? Amari said 2, Fluxy said 3. We were both pretty far off. So you guys take us through your reasons so the fans at home can get some insight into how they should be thinking about these pool questions for the next time.
This is hard.
Yeah, so it's been pretty even. I think Amari might have had a bit of a play in the 5 streak that we saw, because we were counting on Amari to take a couple of those victories away. So unfortunately, we did see that 5 streak. It shouldn't happen like that. I don't think that should happen again. I think there's a couple other players here, Nub and Amari, that should be able to sneak their way up in there and shake things up.
Amari, what do you say?
Yeah, I definitely dropped the ball on there. I think that was, I agree with Flexi. It was between me and Nub to try to break up that streak happening. And based on the last 11, 12 levels that we had flown, I was like, there's no way someone's going to just 5-peat it. That was ridiculous. Yeah. And just being there and being in contention, I was in my head a lot that whole first race. So that wasn't good. Luckily, I was able to get myself out of there and make sure that didn't happen at Ohio. So.
Well, for those at home, remember the answer was 4+. And remember that you too can play for free if you didn't get in this time on the Drone Racing League pool for your share of $1,000. You just got to download any of the DraftKings apps and use the promo code DRL when you sign up. And again, get in on that DRL action. So, gentlemen, let's move on specifically to level 13. Fluxy, we talked to you about level 12, but not 13 yet. I'd love to hear your self-analysis about how you performed.
Yeah, so 13 I wasn't feeling very comfortable with to begin with the flying saucer in there. It's a very tight section that in practice I couldn't make it happen, and I probably should have spent some more time practicing it. I don't know exactly what I could have done there, but that kind of blew that race for me. I was very confident on the rest of the track, and then coming into that flying saucer section, it just kind of, that backwards turn, you really have to go hard there in order to make some victories, and it is a very high risk, high reward section. And if everyone else is taking that fast line, I'm not going to try to take the safe line. So you live and you learn.
And, as a fan, more than other courses, it seemed almost like you had to have some endurance. It seemed like these races took longer to play out. Did it feel like that from the cockpit?
Maybe, I don't know. It's definitely seemed like maybe it was a visual thing that made it feel like that, because a lot of the rooms that we were flying into were so different, and it felt like you were in a different place. But I don't think it really felt much longer. It's just scary coming up to that flying saucer. It's a terrifying thing. It was like, all right, you make it through, especially you get done with your first lap, you make it through, and you're like, all I need to do is nail this flying saucer, and I can put it in for a finish. and that'll get in your head, and it'll make you start shaking and do some things that you ought not be doing.
I love it. Amari, we touched on your performance, but specifically I'd love to hear you talk about how you turned the page from a performance in level 12 that was far less than you probably thought you were capable of, to be able to come back and bounce back and perform fantastically in level 13.
So as soon as qualifying was over for the 2 levels, I knew that one was my strong suit and one was definitely not. So just being able to compartmentalize that, and even while racing, I just kept telling myself, it's okay, you have next level, that's your track, just do what you can on this one, got to maintain those season points.
Fantastic. Well, yeah, both of you, so fun to watch, and loving the way the season's playing out. For you folks at home, remember you too can play free in a Drone Racing League pool for your share of $1,000. Download any of the DraftKings apps and use the promo code DRL when you sign up to get in on the action. Thank you guys for joining us. It was fun catching up with you, fun talking. All right, for those of you watching at home, we are just moments away from live action. I will be joined when we come back by Tony Niddle for more insight on today's race.
Flying a drone for a lot of people is a getaway.
FPV is a therapeutic thing. It's a way to escape from reality.
You put on a set of goggles and you are a flying drone. How else did you get that experience?
Welcome back to the DRL DraftKings pre-flight show. DRL is the premier global professional drone racing property, and we are just moments away from live sim action where our pilots will take on the U.S. Air Force Boneyard. You guys can see all the action on NBC, Twitter, and Facebook, and you can get in on the action through DraftKings. Well, right now I'm going to bring back Tony Niddle, our top DRL analyst. TK, what are you most looking forward to in today's race?
Ooh, I'm excited for this one, Ro. This course really gives the ability for these pilots to open up and show us their personality through their flight. There's a lot of different lines they can take, but it also scrunches down into some tight technical sections as well.
All right, we've talked about it a few times throughout the show. It's got a great name, the U.S. Air Force Boneyard. TK, take us through the course.
Off the start, pilots climb to the Air Force gate, up the ramp, and the rooftop gate. Then it's the first floor drop and over to the DraftKings U-turn. They weave around to the T-Mobile gate and the Allianz Vortex descent to the tarmac before climbing the terminal for lap 2 or diving to the finish.
TK, there are a lot of challenges on today's course, but what are the keys to being successful?
Well, this is one of those unique courses where it really opens up the opportunities for these pilots to express themselves through their flight. And what I mean is there's a lot of elements, but in between those elements is open, flowy sections. So they'll be able to find their own fastest line from one to the next.
Okay, well, let's dig in and talk a little bit more about the pilots in today's race. Here are your standings after 13 events. The battle for third place and the final spot on the podium is between Nub and Miwo. Nub leads that battle with 123 points to Miwo's 103, but battling for a spot on that podium is Amari in second. He's just 12 points back from first. TK, there's only 3 levels left. Amari's in that battle for the season title. What's at stake for him today?
Well, obviously the title is at the line for him, but his reputation as well. He's got to correct some of those mistakes that he's made on the previous levels and sharpen them up because he is running out of time.
All right, TK, one of my favorite things that we did in the last show, even though we're just moments away from racing, is to let you play some of the DraftKings free-to-play questions. You fared okay last time. You got 50%. So we're going back to the same questions. So the first one for you. How many semifinal 1 pilots are going to make it into the finals?
You know, I got to stick with the answer I gave before. I'm going to throw it out there and say 1 as well. It seems to be that is the case with a lot of these, so 1.
All right, 1, and it's safe for you because you can't actually play. I want to remind
exactly.
people at home, you're just giving advice. All right,
Yeah.
TK doesn't actually get to play, but he is a safe. He's a safe man to follow. He's got a big brain. He knows a lot of stuff about this. Second question, my friend: will the pilot who wins the first heat of the finals also win the golden heat?
Man,
this tripped you up last time.
It did trip me up, and I think I gave the answer based on what I wanted to happen as opposed to what I think. So, I'm going to say yes this time, and let's just see how that one goes.
Hey, man, roll the dice, right? There's
Yeah,
no
exactly.
danger. TK is not actually playing, but for those of you at home who are playing, he's got some great advice, so check it out. TK, thanks for stopping by. As always, we appreciate it, and good luck. Have some fun tonight.
Thanks so much, Roy. We'll see you later.
All right, remember, folks at home, you too can bet on DRL on DraftKings and play free in a drone racing league pool for your share of $1,000. Download any of the DraftKings apps and use the promo code DRL when you sign up to get in on tonight's action. Thank you guys so much for watching the DRL DraftKings pre-flight show. Live racing is coming your way in just moments, and you can see that on NBC Facebook or Twitter. For more information on the DRL, head to drl.io. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.